My question is this. I work part-time as a doctor's assistant, alone with 2 medical doctors who suck all the vitality out of me. And my other colleague, my other only colleague, who also works part-time, who sometimes cries due to exhaustion when she returns home. About every minute the door opens and a patient comes in who requires all kinds of action. The phone rings non-stop. The surroundings are extremely loud. Information is being withheld. We are seen only as objects. Count of patients increases from week to week. There is not 1 second to daydream, and my feeling of injustice keeps my resistance high. How can I raise my vibration under these circumstances? How can I get into the stream and relax in it? The best way to look at your situation is this. Extreme conditions which elicit extreme negative emotions or feelings within you are launching extreme rockets of desire. In other words, when you're asking as profoundly as you are, the answers are stacking up in your vortex. You said that there's not 1 second to daydream, and yet we know that you're not there in that place all day, every day. And so you do have opportunities to daydream in terms of time, but you may not have the vibrational opportunity to daydream, because even when you're not there, what you are remembering or recounting or regurgitating are the feelings of frenzy, the feelings of exhaustion, and the feelings of lack of control. You have to approach a situation like this. Take it a little bit at a time. So we would begin by saying to ourselves, this is hard. I know it's hard. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do, but I am going to figure it out. Now that lays a little groundwork that could make it easier for you. Even as we are making this recording for you, where you are describing all the things that are happening, we've paused. Esther will edit the pause out, because there was some sort of vehicle backing up nearby, and it had a beep, 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 beep happening as it backed up. And then just as we began to speak again, an airplane flew over, and we paused again. And just as we began again, a loud truck went by. Now, it's not always like that here in this environment, where it is more often like that in your environment. But what we are getting at is that even for Esther or even for Abraham, there are sometimes hindering things that we have to pause around. We're not asking Esther's environment to be a soundproof room. And we know that you're not asking your environment to be a problem-free room. You would just like a little ease in your life experience. But we want to say to you, you must carve it out. Yes, you could go to a quieter place. Esther has quieter environments than where she's sitting right now. But there are other things that she so much likes about this environment. So she chooses the positive aspects of this environment, while she understands that there may be some noise issues or other things about the environment that are not as pleasing, that she simply has to pause around. You see what we are getting at? So as you take this a little bit at a time, by, as we were saying, by saying things to yourself such as, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I will figure it out. And then reaching for something else that may be soothing, such as, this is a robust place of business, which is good for the people that this doctor is helping, and it's good for those of us who are earning income from being a part of it. Maybe that resonates a little bit with you. It's a big jump to go from the feeling of injustice to a feeling of appreciation. And we would never suggest that you try to do that all at once. But we do know that there are things in every environment that can feel like injustice or that can feel like reasons to appreciate. And you have to decide that you're going to lean in the direction of appreciation, even when those things feel sparse. If things got really loud here as we are recording, Esther, most likely, with our encouragement and prompting, would just turn off her recorder and say something to herself like, "I'll wait for a quieter time." And maybe you feel like you're in a situation where you can't wait for a quieter time because there are so few quiet times. But while the times might not be quiet, while the phone may not stop ringing, and maybe while the noise is extremely loud around you, maybe you could find something less uncomfortable to focus upon. We know for sure you could. We don't know if you will. That all depends on how much you want to, and how much you come to understand that leaving the noisy environment is not the permanent answer. It's always only a temporary answer, because you take your expectant self with you. Often people do not like to hear us speak like this. Esther has argued with us through the years about a conversation like this, because it feels to her like we are always saying, "Esther, time for you to make an adjustment." And she has said to us, "Just once, Abraham, I would like it to be someone else's turn to make the adjustment." And we say to her, and we're saying it to you, attraction is always mutual. And reaching for something that feels better will find something in your environment that does feel better. Noticing something that doesn't feel good will bring something to you that doesn't feel good. And understanding that, and then doing something about it as often as you can, is what balance is. One day, Esther was walking with a group of friends in a foreign city, very busy city, lots of traffic. And the footing was uneven, and Esther was paying attention as she was walking, wanting to keep her balance, and wanting to be aware of her friends, and of the traffic, and of so many other things in the environment. She began to step forward, at the same time sensing that there was traffic coming, and just as she went to pull back up onto the curb, her overreactive friend tried to save her from the traffic, and Esther nearly lost her balance because she wasn't expecting the involvement of someone else in her balance. When you feel unstable or out of balance, you often look to others to help keep you in balance, but they can never do as good a job of keeping you in balance as you can do for yourself. Everything about your life is about self-balance. Balance between your physical self and your non-physical self. Knowing that and being glad for it, and then almost welcoming a little instability because it helps you to want and then find balance, is what gives you the confidence to be able to be anywhere you want to be, go where you want to go, create the way you want to create. That feeling of invincibility is all about your balance. And other people helping you out with your balance, like providing a completely quiet space or making sure that everything is just right in your feathered nest, does not lead to more balance or more sense of invincibility. That will lead every time to insecurity, because you can't take that fixer of your environment everywhere you go.